So back when I was around 10 years old, I really started to get into film, and one of the first directors who I knew the name of and had seen a large chunk of their filmography was Tim Burton. And because of his astonishing set design, memorable characters, and playfully dark tone, he quickly became one of my favourite directors. So while working my way through a bunch of his 80s and 90s films, I came across his 1982 short film Vincent, which was one of the first products that really propelled him into the public eye, and really planted the seeds on what would come next. And after not watching it for an entire decade, I think it holds up pretty damn well. And I'd definitely say it's one of the best films he's ever directed. Starting life as a poem written by Burton himself, his original intent was to publish it into a short children's story. The plot following Vincent Malloy, a 7-year-old boy who has dreams of wanting to be like famous horror actor Vincent Price. But producers over at Disney, where Burton worked as an animator, thought the story had enough potential to be developed into a short film, so they gave him a budget of $60,000 to make it happen. And without this short, we most likely would not see any of his films as we see them today. There are two aspects to the short that really make it stand out, this being the production design and the fact that they actually got Vincent Price to provide the voiceover. The set design, in true Burton fashion, takes a lot of inspiration from the 1920s film movement German Expressionism, most famously seen in films like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and Nosferatu, with its use of painted shadows and distorted architecture, which conveys a very abstract, dreamlike atmosphere, which makes sense since the majority of the short is happening inside Vincent's head. And speaking of that, the short would also introduce Burton to production designer Rick Heinrichs, who would go on to either be the production designer or art director for a majority of Burton's future films, even as of very recently with 2019's Dumbo. And then there's Vincent Price, who like always is fucking great as he reads over the aforementioned poem that this short is based on. And his voice just adds so much character and personality on top of what is already a great product. And on the topic of Price, since this is a story about a boy that idolizes him, there are tons of references to his work littered throughout, from House of Wax to The Raven. And even though the stop motion can be a bit stilted at times, it never came across as distracting. But to end this off, this short is just great. Great performance, great animation, great writing, and one of my favourite examples of Burton's creativity. So if you want to watch it, it's free on YouTube and link is in the description.